Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. We are going to get started in about 60 seconds. We just like to give everybody a little time and the hamsters that run in the Zoom wheel, their chance to get everybody out of the waiting room. Nice to see some familiar faces, some new faces. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in just a few seconds here. We'll let a few more folks in. Wonderful. All right. It is 1:01 and we are going to be together for just 15 minutes. So I will go ahead and get us started. Good afternoon. My name is Gina Waldhorn. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Sports Innovation Lab. If you don't know, we're a data analytics and insight company that helps the world's biggest brands, agencies, properties connect with their future fan. And welcome to our Radical Retail webinar series, all about designing audiences to help power your campaigns, make them more effective and efficient in this really important Q4 holiday shopping, retail focused time of the year. So in just 15 minutes, we are going to go through a little information on what data we are using to build these unique addressable audiences in the category of fashion and beauty and accessories. We're going to give you some insights and dive into a few trends and interesting facts that we saw in the data when we took a look at the intersection between sports and consumers who are shopping in these categories. And then we're going to make sure that you know how to access these unique audiences and specifically talk a little bit about how they've been customized for some of those big campaign opportunities around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the holiday season coming up. So let's start with what is powering our sports data cloud. Here at Sports Innovation Lab, we're all about connecting with that future fan, that fluid fan, and we needed a better engine to do it. The problem that we set out to solve and why we built this new data cloud is that with your existing audiences today, they look something like this. If you're trying to buy or target an NFL fan, you're probably getting a mix of viewership data. Maybe they're watching some Sunday Ticket, and maybe it's some social media data. They might be following Patrick Mahomes, and there's some loose demographic data, and that's going to be your NFL fan. What we think that's missing is this broader, full picture of who this fan is. What else do they spend their time with? What other leagues do they follow? What other teams do they support? It's not just about the single athlete. What other platforms might they be betting on or brands might they be buying? So that you can have a robust view of that fan in order to design and activate the right audiences to convert them. So in order to solve that problem, we built the most advanced data cloud that has domain expertise in sports media and entertainment, as well as retail. At the core of that data cloud is transactional data. We see the spending habits of more than 140 million US consumers, from where they buy their gas to where they shop for groceries, and all of their sports media and entertainment and retail spending as well at an individual level. We then complement that transactional data with our own identity spine that provides an additional 250 million attributes at an individual or a household level. We've got over 8 million online interactions, and we have a lot of first-party proprietary data sets that come in from key categories across retail, media, and entertainment, from collectibles to youth sports, women's sports, Olympics, that all allow us to combine to get that true sense of the fan. So we move from something that looks like this to something that looks like this. We now know who this individual is. We know her exact age, her ethnicity, where she lives. But more importantly, we know what other leagues besides NFL she follows. We know what other teams she's interested. We know if she plays sports. We know when she goes on vacation, is she flying Delta? Is she staying at a Marriott? Or is she more of an Airbnb type of gal? So this really gives you that other 22 hours outside of just an individual viewing pattern of who this individual is, so that you can create the most efficient and effective audiences and insights out of your data. And we believe, because of all of the unique taxonomy development we've done, that we have the most robust set of merchants and brands, especially again when it comes to retail, media, and entertainment, to provide that full picture of who the fan is, because we can see everything they're buying. And ultimately, this leads us to create audiences that drive more engagement, lower your cost per acquisition, and lift your ROAS. So, with all that said, let's dive into the category of fashion, beauty, accessories, and understand who are some of the most high value segments and how does this overlap with the world of sports and entertainment? Well, for one, let's make sure when I say the words beauty, apparel, fashion, accessories, you know exactly what we're talking about. We have subcategories within each of beauty, apparel, and accessories that look at within beauty, fragrance, cosmetics and skincare, as well as salons and spas. We've divided up the world of apparel from fast fashion to general department stores and even resellers like Poshmark. And then when we have accessories, we can look at things like outerwear, glasses, eyewear, luggage, jewelries, and bags. So all of these distinct subcategories are organized under these main categories to provide really specific views into buying behavior. So who are some of the highest value segments? Well, for one, how does beauty and cosmetics and fashion stack up to sports fans? Well, as it turns out, in most categories, and especially some very specific subcategories, sports fans are worth it to add on to your buying, because in many cases, they're on these categories in the general sports in sports fans and men's sports fans. We actually found some specific areas, and I love my women's sports fans, where women's sports fans outspend your traditional sports fans. So cosmetics, not only are they more likely to outspend men's sports leagues, but they're 10% more likely to outspend the general population. However, interestingly enough, on the flip side, it's actually men's league fans that are outspending women's sports fans when it comes to salons and spas. But if you're looking to target those luxury fashion buyers, it's all about the women's sports fans, who are 50% more likely than the general population to be buying from luxury brands. So across these different categories and subcategories, we can identify whether or not it's women's sports fans, men's sports fans, fans of specific leagues, or other interesting communities that we'll dive into where we're seeing heavier spending. One interesting community that popped are our theme parkers. So theme parkers like to move fast on those rides, but they also like to buy that fast fashion. And we found that individuals who are spending on visiting theme parks were 5% more likely to spend on skincare and cosmetics, and more than 15% more likely to be spending with fast fashion brands like your Shein and Forever 21. These often tend to be a younger skewing audience, maybe a family heading out to theme parks. So when we took a deeper dive into Gen Z, as well as parents of teens, we also saw a continued spike on fast fashion and makeup. With our Gen Z community, more than 13% more likely to spend on fast fashion than the average consumer. And parents of teens were more than 24% more likely to spend on cosmetic and skincare, with specific brands like Ulta, Curology, and L'Oreal really popping with our parents of teens. So if you're marketing some of these beauty brands, you definitely want to look at advertising to those parents of teens and using those audiences. We also noticed a big spike in cosmetics and skincare purchases with our Spanish-speaking community, who are more than 14% more likely to be purchasing these subcategories, especially in that skincare space. So looking at a Spanish-speaking, a Latino community was a high-value audience when it came to spending in this category. Here's an interesting one. People who spend on dating apps spend 14% more on salons and spas than the average consumer. So we looked at those individuals who were paying for Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, and we saw that they were more likely to be spending on Drybar or places like Massage Envy, which makes a little bit of sense. They're out in the dating pool, they want to look their best, meet that special someone. And that had us go a little bit deeper. how do sports fans stack up with dating leagues, if dating apps, if daters are more likely to spend, how does that overlap with sports? So we did a fun ranking to see which leagues spent the most with dating apps in 2023. And interestingly enough, MLB came out with number one, followed by NFL fans, NHL, and then racing fans, F1 and NASCAR showing up on this list. So here's just a kind of fun ranking of how fans of specific leagues are spending on dating apps. So MLB, number one. So maybe you're going on a date to a baseball game. Not surprising there in that in our data, we found that Major League Baseball fans are 65% more likely to spend on beauty brands than the average consumer. You might not have thought that adding an MLB filter, an MLB audience into your plan for advertising beauty brands was worth it, but they're much more likely than the Gen Pop, the average consumer, to buy beauty brands. And they're 7% more likely to spend on salons and spas. So a lot of people going on dates, trying to look good for, whoever they're dating at the MLB game. Another interesting finding within our communities we had when we specifically looked at who was spending the most on beauty brands was hunters, fishermen, outdoorsmen. More than 63% likely, over 163 index on spending on brands like Ulta and Sephora for this audience. And more than a quarter of the entire fan segment, I should say the consumer segment of hunters, fishermen, and outdoorsmen were making beauty brand purchases. And specifically, and this will lead us into our discussion on kind of Black Friday, big seasonal spike for this audience. So probably an insight here that there's a lot of gifting going on. This might be a higher income consumer who's spending on gifts, or, they want to look good when they're going out to do that fly fishing. Maybe they need a lot of skincare if you're spending time out in the sun hunting and fishing. So all of these interesting stats and findings around different sports audiences and communities that are more likely to spend on fast fashion, on beauty, on cosmetics, on skincare, on accessories, on luxury. We all know that comes to a head on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and the holiday season being a prime time when you really want to fold in the most effective audiences. So we have created a set of dedicated seasonal holiday, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday shoppers. The way we created this audience, we looked at those consumers who had a peak spending in December at big box major retailers that are selling a lot of these fashion beauty brands and custom retailers like your H&Ms and depending on the category. And if they had a high peak spend over the past 3 years during the holiday, they are folded into our holiday shopper audience. For Black Friday, we were able to isolate specific Black Friday dates over the past 3 years and identify those consumers that had their highest spend on that day. Tag those individuals as our Black Friday spenders and turn them into a unique custom syndicated audience for you. Same with Cyber Monday. So we found those online shoppers who had their peak spend on these categories on Cyber Monday every year for the past 3 years. And now that is a dedicated Cyber Monday audience that you can purchase off of all of the different platforms, from programmatic and data stores, LiveRamp to Trade Desk. These run on Meta, and they can go on any addressable channel, from display, social, OTT, digital out of home, anywhere you can kind of push a programmatic audiences, our audiences are available. And to make sure that it was easy for you to find these audiences when you go on to the LiveRamps or the Trade Desk or Google DV360, simply search for either Sports Innovation Lab, and you'll find our Gen Z MLB baseball audience. You'll find our outdoor enthusiasts. You'll find our concert goers or baseball fans who also spend a lot on fast fashion apparel or accessories. So we've got hundreds of these different syndicated audiences. Just start with Sports Innovation Lab and you'll be able to search and filter through those. But because we know there's a lot of retail spending and a lot of retail campaigns running, we've also created a set of custom audiences. And if you search Retail Innovation Lab, those will also pop up for you. So if you're looking for our Black Friday shoppers, if you're looking for that Cyber Monday audience, if you're looking for jewelry and watches buyers, all of that will be under Retail Innovation Lab as well. So make sure to hit up, look for Sports Innovation Lab, Retail Innovation Lab, or reach out to us at audiences@sportsilab.com. We can customize audiences by brand, by category, by how much a consumer is spending, whether they're regular spenders. Maybe you want those people who only shop at Sephora 2 times a month. We can build those audiences. And again, we can create anything custom. Just simply reach out to us at audiences@sportsilab.com. We are right up at 15 minutes on the dot. We know your afternoon is chugging along, so we love to reward our agency and our audience buyers with a coffee card. So thanks for spending time with us. Make sure you fill out the poll. We'll send you your $5 to Starbucks. And have fun with these audiences. We have a lot of amazing audiences in fashion, beauty, retail, across all the different brands and subcategories, with amazing intersections on sports, Gen Z, and other high value communities. So if you have any questions, as we ran through very quickly today, don't hesitate to reach out. And great to spend time with everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.